Hello and welcome, everybody, to another episode of Last Week in Quantum. I'm your host, self-proclaimed Silicon Valley marketing genius, Bill Roth. This is the show where we review the week's news in the world of quantum computing and its impacts on the world of cybersecurity, AI, and more. And with us to discuss this last week's news is, as always, Brandon Dennis, Director of Operations. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you, Bill.
And return guest Patrick Shore, FedOps Program Manager for Q Secure. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, chock full of news as always. Let's dive right in. There is a group named after the French mathematician Blaise Pascal who's got a hackathon, a sort of generative quantum challenge underway. Brandon, tell us what this means, and Pat, translate it for us.
The Blaise Pascal Regenerative Quantum Challenge is underway. Article states, with rising concerns over climate change and the environmental footprint of digital solutions, the inaugural Blaise Pascal Regenerative Quantum Challenge, which is a unique hackathon running from October 5th to November 15th, seeks to bridge the gap. Pat, I know you took a look at this article.
Yeah, the challenge is oversubscribed, which is great news and shows that there's a lot of young top talent that's interested in quantum and sustainable energy. And some of the focus areas for the challenge are really interesting: sustainable transport, smart cities, smart grids, drug development, and sustainable agriculture. And a lot of those focus areas fall directly and tie directly into the Department of Energy R&D projects that are currently focused on quantum and smart grids. So hopefully the results from this challenge are picked up by the Department of Energy and rolled into projects for more funding.
Excellent. There was also a really interesting, as we've mentioned last show, I'm a bit of a politics nerd, and there was a great piece in The Hill by Joe Keller from Brookings Institution, basically calling on Congress to get its act together on quantum. Brandon, tell us more.
The article titled, Congress Must Collectively Champion Quantum Information Science and Technology. I really like the quote from this article. While the U.S. stands at the precipice of groundbreaking technological advancements, it is crucial for Congress to collectively champion the cause of quantum information science and technology, ultimately shaping a future defined by innovation, security, and global competitiveness. Pat, I believe we picked these back-to-back articles for that segue from Department of Energy to all of Congress.
Yeah, that's right. The article at a high level states that AI is being prioritized more than quantum, with the idea being AI is more of the immediate threat and quantum is kind of a long-term quiet threat that'll sneak up on us. However, this is concerning for the Department of Energy as they try to recruit people for the projects that I was just talking about. Those young people that we mentioned in the quantum challenge, they might have a hard time recruiting those folks if we're not prioritizing quantum in the way that we need to. So yes, absolutely, we need Congress to step in, provide funding, and continue to do so that we can get top level talent to address these problems.
Okay, speed round, 60 seconds left. CSO Online had a great story on the 11 top quantum projects. Give it to us quickly, boys.
We'll get through the 11 initiatives in 60 seconds, but the CSO Online did say post-quantum cryptography is high on the agenda as the security community works to understand, build, and implement cryptographic encryption that can withstand post-quantum threats and attacks of the future. Pat?
Two highlights of note here. One, it covers multiple initiatives around standards for global technologies in quantum in the UK, in the private industry, and for federal US federal institutions as well. The second thing of note is that Google is preparing Chrome for post-quantum encryption. We mentioned last week on the podcast when we talked about Cloudflare that other big companies were going to have FOMO and start jumping into PQC, and now we're seeing it. So if you're a big company and you haven't jumped on board with PQC, time to do so because you're missing out.
Awesome. Well done. And folks, you can find the links in our show notes. And if you want to join our mailing list for our weekly news summary, please go to our LinkedIn page. That's Q Secure's LinkedIn page, QUSECURE, and join our newsletter mailing list. That's all for today's show. I'm Bill Roth. your humble host. And with us this week has been Brandon Dennis, Director of Operations, and Pat Shore, FedOps Program Manager. Thank you both.
Great show. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Bill.
That's all for this week. We'll talk to you next week on Last Week in Quantum.